Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jessica.
Today we're here to talk to you about Saint Isidore of Seville.
Now, if you've been watching the show for a while, we've mentioned Saint Isidore many times.
Yes, he is one of the patron saints of the Popish Plot because he is the patron saint of all the internet.
Yes. He's also the patron saint of computer users, computer technicians, programmers, IT techs, software engineers, computers themselves, and students.
So, given all this computer stuff, I've got to assume Saint Isidore is probably a fairly recent addition to the canon of saints.
Well, he was born in about the year 560.
So, not recent.
No.
Okay, so I have questions, but we'll put those off till later. So, who was Saint Isidore of Seville?
Well, he was an archbishop.
Okay.
He was a theologian.
Yeah, those two at that time, those two things tended to go hand in hand.
He was a writer.
Okay.
He was named a doctor of the church.
Wow, okay.
And some people consider him like the last Latin church father.
Okay.
Because by the time he died, it was 636, so it was pretty late for a church father, but he did so much. In fact, some people, quoting a modern historian who said it, go and call him the last scholar of the ancient world.
The last scholar of the ancient world. Okay. So this guy must have figured out quite a few things.
Well, it's not so much that he figured out a lot of stuff, but he compiled pretty much all the information that was known at that time.
Okay. So given the time, this would have been significantly before St. Thomas.
Yes.
So essentially he was the pre-Thomas Thomas?
Well, St. Thomas did a lot more stuff on theology. He covered everything. So, his most famous writing, which I'm going to have you read because it's in Latin.
Okay, so that would be Etymologiae, also known as Origines.
Which, this is the second book called Origines because there was one from an ancient Greek writer that has the same title.
Okay.
But basically, he was trying to do a summa, much like Thomas, only instead of being a summa of theology, or all of theology, he wanted it to be all of knowledge. So he, in essence, invented the encyclopedia.
Okay. So what you're saying is when I get up to heaven, and they do trivia, they do pub trivia, I want to get this guy on my team.
Well, his main book had 448 chapters in 20 volumes and included sections on things like grammar, language, math, medicine, law, theology, animals, physics, geography, agriculture, tools, domestic matters. So he knew a lot of stuff. However, he knew a lot of stuff from the 6th century. So like on animals, he suggested that bees and flies spontaneously form from dead cows and things that we now know aren't right.
So if I'm dealing with early first millennia pub trivia, he'd be good.
Well, he'd be very good because he also wrote other texts that include things on histories, especially the people of this era.
Okay.
Biographies, like he wrote hundreds of biographies. And again, things where he had all the knowledge from that time, but we probably know more now on things like natural histories, astronomy.
So I'm still better off I'm still probably better off partnering up with Mike.
Well, usually
or maybe
the team
Father
has,
Brad.
The team has multiple people, so get someone who knows the modern science.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he knew a whole lot of stuff. He did a whole lot of things for the church. Wrote a whole lot of books. Is there anything else that's really important about Saint Isidore of Seville?
Well, his family was clearly like the his century and era Martin house because he has 2 brothers who are saints and a sister. In fact, he got his job being the Bishop of Seville, which made him an archbishop because it was the overriding,
It was
the area.
Yes.
Because he took it over from his older brother, who is also a saint.
Okay. So he's got another one of those. Pretty much everybody that lived under this roof ended up becoming a saint at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Also important is he was one of the people at the Fourth Council of Toledo, which was all of what we would call like Spain of that era.
Yes. The original Toledo, not the American Toledo.
But it wasn't like a full, like Vatican and Vatican II type one. It was just a regional council.
Okay.
Which he led.
All right. Yeah. All right.
He was thought for a long time to be the person who went and wrote the Code of Canon Laws for that area, but it turns out that it was one of those things, much like in olden days, where everyone knows this guy. This guy was really smart. I'm putting his name on it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So you'll occasionally find old sources that still, attribute it as maybe him, but most modern scholars agree that it wasn't.
So I think I found the answer already, but the question I had earlier is, given that he lived about 1,500 years prior to the invention of the internet, how exactly did he become the patron saint of the internet? But I think I've got the picture, because basically this guy was trying to Wikipedia at the time.
Yes. Much like how the internet was originally, first it was started for military, but when it got to the schools and university levels,
it was basically for
we were trying to pool all the knowledge
and sharing
ever.
all the knowledge, and he wanted to have all the knowledge. Gotcha.
Yes, but he was not just a scholarly mind, as he also was very big on following his saintly older brother's work on converting the Visigoths of the area, who were all largely Arians.
Oh, yeah, you gotta convert those Arians.
Yeah, and he wasn't quite as successful as St. Patrick in that, his brother was already starting, but, he largely gets the credit of doing the vast majority of all that work.
Sure, because much like with a game of hot potato, the credit generally goes to the person who last had their hands on it.
And it is one of those things where his older brother was also his teacher growing up. So it's, it's a continuation, same thing going on through the family. So,
all right. So, St. Isidore of Seville. When is his feast day now?
April 4th.
April 4th. So, the day that this video will probably air.
Yes.
Excellent. So, while you're out there in the internet world, probably still in the quarantined internet world, make sure to say a prayer to St. Isidore, because he's the patron saint of all this technology that helps bring us to you. And before you go, remember to go down below, hit the like button, because how could you not like a story of a saint? I can't think of any good reason to dislike a story of a saint, unless you're really, nasty person.
I think it depends on the saints,
Fair enough. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you'll be able to find us easier next time you go looking for it, and hit that church bell next to it so that you'll get notifications when we next post something. And put something down in the comments. And until next time, remember to live your faith,
love your faith,
and share that love. So, Saint Isidore.
Yes. Of Seville, and not the farmer.
No, he was an archbishop.
He bishoped all the arches.
Fair enough.